It was after 5 in the morning and dawn was breaking by the time Tony Blair arrived at the Royal Festival Hall. Labour has waited 18 years for this, and some of its supporters could barely contain themselves. What must have been a bittersweet moment of congratulation from the man who had to admit defeat 5 years ago. With all doubts about victory now gone, this had the mark of a speech to the nation as a whole.
We are now today the People's Party. The party of all the people, the many, not the few. The party that belongs to every part of Britain, no matter what people's background or their creed or their colour. The party that can stand up for what is a great country. The people of Britain are uniting behind New Labour.
Just across London, the scene at Conservative Central Office eerily similar to those triumphant nights of the past 18 years. There were smiles at the window where Margaret Thatcher used to acknowledge her victories. But for all the cheers, the presence of one of the high-profile casualties buried beneath the Labour landslide underlined the scale of the Conservative catastrophe. The Prime Minister paid tribute to his party team, his defeated colleagues.
And on a more personal basis, though I have temporarily mislaid her, Norma. So, right, okay, we lost. So we...
Go, John.
So go away for the weekend, relax, fire yourself up again, and then come back. Because when you come back, at the beginning of next week, we've got a job, and we better start doing it then. Thank you very much.
At that stage, he was still keeping those straining at the leash for a leadership contest guessing about his plans. Last night's race to be the first seat to declare went to Sunderland South. The count completed less than an hour after the polls closed.
Christopher John Mullin, the Labour Party candidate, 27,174.
It was the first tremor signalling what was to become an earthquake. Just after midnight, the first Labour gain, Birmingham-Edgbaston, a marginal for the seat that the Tories have held since 1922.
I'd like to thank the people of Edgbaston for entrusting me with being their first ever Labour Member of Parliament.
Basildon, which gained a special place in Tory hearts when their victory there 5 years ago symbolised John Major's surprise comeback, went to Labour with a whopping 18% swing. And then the big names began to go. Michael Forsyth, the Scottish Secretary, was the first minister of cabinet rank to lose his place in the Commons. The Foreign Secretary, Malcolm Rifkin, went down in Edinburgh Pentlands, and the Scottish Nationalists claimed another senior scalp, the President of the Board of Trade, Ian Lang. In the next Parliament, there will be no Conservative MPs returned by Scotland or indeed Wales. But as the likely contenders for John Major's mantle digested what was happening, and those accustomed to office contemplated life in opposition, perhaps the biggest upset of the night.
Twig, Stephen, Labour Party, 20,507.
This time yesterday, Michael Portillo was being spoken of as one of those most likely to lead his party in the next Parliament, but he won't even have a place on the backbenches. Other familiar faces are going too. Dame Angela Rumbold wasn't saved by her public rebellion over a single currency. Edwina Currie can perhaps take some comfort in having been the only Conservative to make an accurate public prediction of the outcome. As the victories piled up, the Labour leader, still in his Sedgefield constituency, finally called a truce in his war against complacency.
You know me, I'm never complacent, but no, it's looking very good all around the country.
3:15 and Labour passed the winning post. Not an opinion poll, not even an exit poll, these were real seats in Parliament. With one of the safest seats in the country, John Major was among the few Conservatives who could arrive at the count last night sure of staying in the Commons.
I telephoned Mr. Blair a little over an hour ago to congratulate him on his success and to wish him every good fortune in the great responsibilities that he will have in the years that lie ahead.
The Liberal Democrats' share of the vote was pretty much what it was 5 years ago, but they targeted their efforts skillfully and they benefited from tactical voting. Paddy Ashdown has delivered more seats than any leader of his party since Lloyd George.
And we will use that force, we will use the vote that people have given us in the next Parliament with a hugely increased number of Liberal Democrat members of Parliament to fight every minute, every second, every hour through the next Parliament for those things that we have campaigned for in this election.
The Liberal Democrats had their trophy Tory to hang among their battle honours. They beat Norman Lamont in Harrogate. The Scottish Nationalists benefited from the Tory collapse too. Alex Salmond's SNP added 3 seats to its tally. In Wales, Plaid Cymru's position held steady. Some contests will enter political mythology. Martin Bell transformed from war correspondent to anti-sleaze campaigner and MP in a matter of weeks. David Mellor perhaps making the opposite journey from politician to broadcaster. Expelled from Putney, he took consolation in the poor showing of the referendum party leader.
And I'd only like just to say this to Sir James Goldsmith, who's got nothing to be smug about. And we have shown tonight that the referendum party is dead in the water. And Sir James, you can get off back to Mexico knowing your attempt to buy the British political system has failed. Thank you very much.
As they flew down to London and power, Tony Blair's famously disciplined campaign team showed signs of relaxing. The last time the light of a post-election dawn shone on a victorious Labour leader was nearly 23 years ago. Most of those who voted for the first time yesterday weren't even born then.